Hello, everyone. My name is H. Adam Harris. I'm the Artistic and Audience Engagement Associate here at South Coast Repertory. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm super excited to be joined by this wonderful human here who I'll let introduce themselves.
Yes, hi, my name is Christine Quintana. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I'm from Vancouver, BC, from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations, and I'm really excited to be working here at South Coast Rep as a playwright.
Yes, visiting us here, Christine is the playwright of Clean, which is going up pretty soon here. It's inside of our PPF festival, and we're just super, super excited. So the play is called Clean in English, and it's called Espejos in Spanish. Tell me why you gave the play two titles, Christine.
I feel like that sums up so much about the process of doing a bilingual piece. So the title started in English as Clean, which to me has like a lot of meanings. It has like clean slate, clean conscious, clean, like literally things being clean. And we had originally translated it as limpia, but that's the way that things work in Spanish. If it's an adjective, it's gendered. If it's a verb, it's a certain tense. And it had a lot of parameters on it that didn't have the same resonance that we wanted it to have. And then we came across Espejos, which is mirrors. And immediately I went back and looked through the script and realized there were as many references to mirrors and all of the things like looking in a mirror, having mirrored events and cycles and actions in your life, seeing mirrors of yourself and other people, whether that's for real or projection that you're putting on them. And we were like, okay, that has like resonance and meaning in the way that Clean does in English. And it kind of sums up like with all of the things with translation that it's not the same. And so you can never exactly translate something, but you have something that resonates and hits similarly. And that's why we have two titles, and I love them both.
I love it. I love it. Clean, you mentioned bilingualism here. So Clean and Espejos is a play that takes place in two languages. You've got two characters. We've got Sarah, who speaks English, and we've got Adriana, who speaks Spanish primarily. And then we've got subtitles throughout. Tell me, what made you want to do this in two languages, and did you have any help?
So I very quickly after I wrote the play, and I wrote it all in English. I'm not fluent in Spanish. My dad was Mexican American, but I didn't get a chance to learn as a kid. And I realized that the character of Adriana would speak Spanish for sure. That's her first language. That's how she, that's what she would think in, and that's how she needs to speak to the audience. And luckily I had some great support from development companies back in Vancouver and in Toronto, who said, yes, like go for this, do this, and honor this character's reality in this way. And I had previously seen work by Paula Zelaya Cervantes, who's the translator for Clean Espejos, who's an amazing playwright director. She lives in Mexico City, but she studied at UBC, my university. And that's how we met. And I knew that she had a voice as a playwright that was funny and feminist and poetic. And I sent her my script in English and said, do you want to come on board? And she said, absolutely. And so she did both translation, which is sort of translating everything I've written, but also adaptation, adding cultural details, because I've never lived in Mexico. So there's like certain intimate details of adaptation that really let the character live in, not just in Spanish, but in the Mexican dialect of Spanish. It's really specific. And really bring her world to life in even more detail than I would be able to do on my own.
I love it. One of the beautiful things about the play for me is there is that challenge of watching and receiving a play in two languages. And so you're really thinking about, I've spent a lot of time in Mexico City myself, and I know a very little bit of Spanish, just enough to get around. And then I learned some like very amazing phrases from some friends that I've made down there. And I'm like, this is my code word to get in and out of places quickly. But one of the things that I always find whenever you're trying to communicate in another language that maybe you don't know everything about, the desire and the energy to communicate just turns on. Your entire body is doing this thing to try to overcome this barrier. And all of a sudden, I don't know, there's always laughter. That's my thing. There's always laughter in those moments because there's something very tender about trying to be understood, which I think this play really sort of examines. And I'm super excited to for our audiences to see it. When you think about this play and, you know, doing it now, why now? Why this play now? Classic question.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a bunch of layers to it, right? I think in the translation aspect of it, we're realizing that we have to listen better to each other. We have to listen better and we have to listen deeply. And it's not just about language or culture or anything else. You know, sometimes if you and I are in a meeting and something happens and, you know, you say, hey, that thing that happened, was that okay with you? And I say, yeah, it was fine. What do I mean? Like, if you look at the words, you go, okay, she's fine. But you look at my body language, you look at the energy, you go, okay, there's more to that story. And part of Clean Espejos is asking audiences to listen deeply and to enter the, you know, you get a deep dive into the psychology of these two women who are two people that might be dismissed in your daily life for various reasons. And so I think that practice of deep listening leading to deep compassion is really important. And also, you know, I think that plays, especially with women of color, have been fixated on trauma, this terrible thing that happens, and the audience getting to see the moment where this awful life-changing thing happens. And, you know, it's kind of predatory. You know, it's kind of this fetish that media has with showing women undergoing abuse and trauma, and that we get to watch that. And this piece is about survival and what happens 10 years later. What happens to your psychology? What happens to your nervous system? How do you move through the world, and how do you interpret the world as someone who has been through something? And, you know, I think it's a term that's bandied about, but I don't think we can say lightly that, like, we've been through a collective trauma through the pandemic, through the ongoing racial violence in this country. And we need narratives that show us the way forward and a way through, and how to be present to each other and to support each other through that. So that's my argument for why now. Yeah.
That's an incredible argument for why now. And I love that it's not just, it's an argument that sort of crosses into a lot of different aspects of our lived experience and our communal experience, that which we've all experienced as a collective, that which we experience in the individual. It's both about what happens in that boardroom, but also what happens in the community cafeteria at the bus stop. I don't know, there's just something really palpable about that. What makes you do art?
I don't feel like there's anything else for me. Like, both my parents are artists. My dad was a rock musician and my mom's a clothing designer. And I got bit by the theater bug when I was like 8, but it was always, I thought a lot about this because I think a lot of artists during the pandemic, when we weren't working or we weren't putting things in front of people at the same rate, were like, who am I? What am I? And I really realized in that time, I did a lot of writing during the pandemic, that it's my way of processing the world and understanding my experience on Earth. And I think that artist's job is to offer lenses for interpretation, how to navigate all of the wild and wonderful and terrible things about being alive. And I can't imagine doing anything else.
Yeah,
and I hope I don't have to.
Yeah, right. We all do, right? I always share with my students, I always share this incredible quote by Audra McDonald. She delivered at the 2007 Juilliard commencement. Everyone needs art. How lucky for you to have a world that needs you. And I just thought, like, yeah, that's a good thing to hold on to as we pursue this thing that was very difficult for the past 2 years, but now we're starting to feel that comeback, which is really exciting. You are visiting us here in Southern California in Orange County. Can you tell me what that experience has been like? I don't know. What's the weather? How's the weather compare?
It's warmer here. We're heading into spring over on the west coast of Canada, but it was colder there, and I got a lot of angry text messages from home when I sent my by the pool pics. And it's so funny because nobody else is by the pool right now except for the Canadian, who's like, it's basically summer. So that's fun. But I feel like the thing for me that's been so powerful is, so I was born in East LA, and I'm Mexican American on my dad's side. And the way that Latina culture lives here is so extraordinary and powerful. You know, you go to stores and there's signs in English and Spanish, and you look at the people who are the backbone of this community, and they're the Latinx community. And And so to be around other people from my background is so incredibly powerful. And I grew up in a really different context. The presence of Latinx Canadians is really different, and it's been amazing, and having moments of just getting to speak Spanish with people on the street and feeling really seen, and feeling a great sense of responsibility with this play to honor and uplift and welcome in the Latino community has been really, really moving to me. So I feel like this has been a really powerful experience for connecting with my ancestry and thinking about who am I responsible to when I bring this work into this theater and on this land. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Christine. It is an honor to have you here. You've already had such an impact on SCR and the way we do things, the way you advocate for yourself, your play, these characters, and your understanding of the art that you've made. We are thrilled and honored to be able to be having the US premiere of this play. There's a Canadian premiere. We're doing a co-world premiere here, and we're super, super excited. And I think we got an incredible voice coming out of you for years to come. So thank you all. We hope you come and see Clean Espejos at South Coast Repertory.